What is going on, everybody? We are back once again on a Friday for another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. I'm your host, Clark Taylor. I'm here with two of my good buddies. First time the three of us have been chatting since the iconic Mania week we had.
Sir.
What is that? I mean, how long ago was that? It feels like yesterday, but it dang sure wasn't, unfortunately. Yeah, it's Friday, April 14th. Thank goodness not Friday the 13th. That's a close one, guys, right? You got to be careful. And we're going to get into a nice little SmackDown preview. But first, we've got riding with me on the bottom of your screen. We got Chaos, host of Take It to the Table. My good friend, how you been, man?
What's up? Yes, I'm glad to be here. This is my second episode since the greatest trip of all time, being Mania. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. Let's get into SmackDown and all the festivities that's been happening in the wrestling world.
Absolutely. And Anthony, how are you doing? Late call-in, by the way, late replacement. We thought we had
super sub.
We thought we had super producer up in Canada. We do not. We've got Anthony Risciardi on the last minute call. You got to give him mad credit for that. But how are you feeling this afternoon?
All right. I mean, I know this is your 101st show, but I have to have had the most relief appearances of shows that I was not supposed to be on and got last minute calls to be in. But, here I am.
You definitely have been the resident plug and play reliever without question. Super Bowl Sunday, I would point to as well.
He's the Dolph Ziggler of Wrestling Republic. He's always reliable. Definitely.
He's ready to go.
I almost think of the Seth Rollins. I get called in for these,
That too. Last second fill in and always there, always ready.
Literally, the text from Clark says, "I need the right-handed reliever from Philly." I knew what he meant, so here I am.
A little baseball analogy to get the afternoon going.
I mean, in the UK, that could mean a lot of things, but fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That one's I was gonna say, I'm like, Chaos. That one's an American reference.
It was an American to American reference.
Bring the righty out of the bullpen. We need a new arm. We need a new arm. I guess in today's case, it was a new voice. If we're getting into specifics, but let's get right into SmackDown. Honestly, WWE kind of limited us on the preview this week, which is funny. This is a big SmackDown coming off the draft announcement last week. We've seen, obviously, we were at Raw 2 weeks ago. This follow-up Raw was interesting-ish. I would say. I don't know. Before we fully get into SmackDown, do you guys think we'll see any fallout from what we saw on Raw? I'll start with you, Anthony. Do you think we'll see anything tonight based on what we saw Monday night?
Maybe a carryover with the bloodline. Maybe you might see something because, again, there were travel issues Monday, so there might have been some things they couldn't do. So whether or not they move it to SmackDown or they just do it on Monday or do something completely different. I mean, the only thing I could see is possible bloodline stuff. I don't expect to see Brock. You're not going to see Cody. I don't think you're going to see any of that. So it's probably bloodline stuff would be probably the most likely.
Yeah, and that makes a bunch of sense. And I'm glad you brought up the travel issues from Monday. That was such a fascinating part of that show, especially since we were so aware of it. Chaos, I'm sure you caught Raw, or at least most of it, since Monday. Do you think, given the fact that they had travel issues and probably plans were scrapped, things were changed Monday night, that we might see some stuff that we may have seen 5 days ago tonight, or do you think they kind of stick by the book? I just find it interesting how light the preview is.
Yeah, and you have a right to worry on that, because that just reminds me of the old regime, how you just either just plug stuff literally at the last minute, or everything is literally going to be up in the air again. Now, obviously, we all know that Vince didn't really have that much input in Raw on Monday, just had a little dabble compared to how he was all over it, smeared his scent all over on Raw after Mania. But yeah, it's I think it's going to be a light show. I don't think much is going to happen because when's the next pay-per-view? It's not for a few weeks, isn't it? So this definitely feels like, it's going to be a bit of a filler episode. Sure, obviously they're trying to hype people with a certain return, but yeah, I feel like this is still going to be a bit of a filler episode. So I'm not really expecting much, neither from Cody, neither from Bloodline. Probably have a little segment here or two with Paul Heyman and the Usos maybe. But yeah, they could very well surprise us, but I'm not holding my breath in this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. It's odd to me. I loved what you mentioning Vince's minimal influence this Monday compared to last Monday. I think is so noteworthy. I also find it fascinating. We didn't really hear much about Vince having influence Friday night last week, and I don't want to over speculate, right? But it's funny, that wasn't that long after. Now I get a lot of us were traveling. I was only driving, so it was easier for me, in that time frame. I think it's funny that that wasn't the story coming out of last week's SmackDown, and I wonder if that is Fox's involvement. Not to over speculate there, but I wonder if Fox kind of went, nope, we didn't like that. We watched Monday and didn't like that. I don't know, right? But we haven't heard much about Vince putting his hands on SmackDown specifically to this point. To Chaos's point though about the preview, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
That this feels like his hands, I guess, for maybe a poor analogy there, but it does feel a little bit like that's Vince-ish, right? And that's scary. But at the end of the day, my hope would be that this is a nice little bridge show to get us again towards the next pay-per-view. As you mentioned, which is Backlash, not WrestleMania Backlash.
Yes, not WrestleMania Backlash, like Cody said.
Yeah, I do believe that was a Cody botch.
Clark and I were watching that together over Zoom, and I went, "Oh no, that's a Vince line. That's a Vince line. WrestleMania Backlash. Oh no." The fact that they had to make a public announcement went, no, it's Backlash, not WrestleMania Backlash. Yeah. That tells you something that like everyone hit panic mode when they heard those terms together, which I refuse to refer to. I would never refer to it as WrestleMania Backlash.
It's terrible.
It's a horrible name. Backlash.
It's really interesting to me because from a branding perspective, the Mania name carries so much weight. You would assume that it wouldn't be that big of a deal to just add it on the front end, right? If you're just watching as a casual fan,
no, I
get on this.
Yeah,
but I think what messed it up so bad is it was because it was at the tail end of the Vince run. Mm-hmm. And when I say the Vince run, I mean like the 40-year Vince run, right?
Yeah, I mean they
like I acted like that was like a storyline. No, like no, it was a long run, but it was at the tail end.
They did it what, 2
like
or 3
a Vince thing, and as a marketing thing, yeah. I wonder if they call it WrestleMania Backlash under Triple H in the first place. They never do it at the tail end with Vince during, especially the COVID era with no fans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I believe the first WrestleMania Backlash was the greatest.
That would be the 2021 match. Then.
Yeah, the greatest wrestling match ever, right? Wasn't that Orton and Edge?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
I wonder if that's a Triple H baby if we don't have a problem with it. Because we didn't have a problem with a lot of advertising and a lot of branding type things under Triple H because of how quality the storytelling was. And I think it's weird proportionally because I'm with both of you guys on don't call it WrestleMania Backlash. That was a flop.
It cheapens the brand of Mania. It would be like the equivalent of the NFL throwing Super Bowl on some other game that's not the Super Bowl. That's what it is.
Pre-Super Bowl weekend.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And obviously its history was known for it to be basically it was a lazy pay-per-view. It was just rematches from Mania. That's all it was. So it didn't really carry that much weight. I think the only one that stood out a little bit was that one with the awful zombie match. And like you say, it was like a promotional tool.
The Netflix one. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So and also the promotion, like if you say about the sponsorships and stuff, and not many people was moaning about it now. I think, it was definitely an eyesore to me when it was during Mania. That stuff was in your face, like. But
the Intuit TurboTax.
Sorry,
the Intuit TurboTax that was on the screen during Mania.
during Mania, definitely nonstop. Cinnamon Crunch was everywhere, including the mascot. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they've dropped it. WrestleMania. It's a dumb name, and it was just a lazy excuse to just fill up the card with rematches that no one really kind of asked for. So yeah, force a habit from Cody. I understand that, but yeah, he really needs to clean up on that, definitely. Before he gets another rubber chicken thrown at him.
Yes. Okay. By the way, though, you mentioned all the sponsorships at Mania, and it's funny, before we fully get into this SmackDown stuff, the Russell Crowe segment before the Hell in a Cell match,
yeah,
it got booed, but at the same time, I didn't understand. Then Russell Crowe also did the voiceover for the intro video. I don't know if you noticed that, and if you saw Russell Crowe's tweet after, it was funny. We're in the building, the whole thing got booed, right? We're all there. Russell Crowe's like post afterwards, like it came across like not only is he a big wrestling fan, but he was like excited for the opportunity to do all that. And it was such like a complete opposite of what we'd experienced in the arena for the spot. So it kind of cracked me up. It was like, because Russell tweeted like, what a war between Finn and Edge. Or not tweeted, I'm sorry, on Instagram in his post.
Yeah.
He reposted like the pre-video, and he did like the what a war between Edge and Finn, and like thank you so much for the opportunity and all this stuff. And both Edge and Finn commented like thank you, and like couldn't have been set up by a bigger legend, and things of that nature. And it's so funny because in the building it was like, oh no, another ad.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that got booed is the fact that we all thought it was a promo for either Edge or Finn coming out, and everyone's got their phones ready to capture the entrance, and then it's like,
yeah. I mean, it looks weird to people seeing it live. I'm pretty sure it was all right seeing it on TV. Obviously, it's obviously going on, but for us, we're expecting like some sick entrance, and it's a promo spot. So that's what. And the fact that it happened the night before, I can't remember what match it was. I think it was the in TurboTax. That one. I can't remember what match.
TurboTax was bad.
That one was it was just so ill timed. It just looked weird. It was just very disjointed for us as when you're there live. So I think that's why people were getting pissed off with it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't as bad if you saw it on TV, but just for it being there, we just thought it was almost like a dick tease for something awesome. And it was like, nope. Go see Pope Exorcist out in cinemas now. So it was just Man, people hate ads. I don't even like ads in my video games. I get pissed off when it's like ads. So people just don't like ads.
It was the same thing when the screens were going out, because I'm sure people watching at home going, why are they booing like this match, or why are they cheering at this point? It's because the monitors were going on and off throughout the night, especially the first night.
I can't tell you. I think almost every Mania, there's something that I don't know I don't know if it's me that being there, but it's either the screens going out, the lights are too bright, or or it's one of the two. Every Mania I've been to is either the screen or the lights are too bright, and it's freaking terrible. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that must be very random or weird hearing that from and obviously that might easily make the people that's watching on TV just tune out. They must think, oh, this is rubbish. Let me go.
This is confusing.
You know, I'm seeing. So yeah, it's a bit disjointing, but hey, that's their fault.
100%. And it's so funny to me, like because I'm with you on the ads thing. Obviously, we all know, like, I mean, they have to sell ads to make money, right?
Of course.
But it's so funny because on the flip side of that, and I'm guilty of it too, we complain about picture-in-picture on AEW. And it's like, well, at least you don't have to listen to the ads. You get to at least, like, you don't get the commentary anymore. But, it's like, it's a hard battle to win, and it's a hard road to navigate no matter which, or what you're doing or how much money. I mean, I think the brilliance of, like, and not to toot like Logan Paul and the WWE's horn on this one so much, but the brilliance of KSI being under the Prime mascot suit, and that as almost like product placement type advertising,
100%,
as opposed to shoved in your face between matches, right between the action. That I think is kind of the future marketing wise.
In a way, I mean, but it's like I compare it to with UFC. with UFC, I don't feel it's as intrusive when UFC does it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a little blurb on a little thing on the bottom. They may just mention it just before the round starts, saying sponsored by Flipping Modelo beer, that kind of stuff. It's not as intrusive, and they might have this one ad after the end of a fight. I don't really mind it as much, but with Mania, definitely it was very in your face. The most I've ever seen WWE be in your face with advertising. And obviously they made sure you saw that 20 mil in effect. You know what I mean? So it was that's the only thing. It depends on how you do it. Sometimes you don't mind it, depending how you showcase it. But yeah, it was very, very in your face at Mania. That's what really annoyed people.
It was for sure. Okay, wait, we've got 2 comments from Soul. And then we'll get into the rest of the SmackDown preview. We've got so Chaos, how glad are you that we have our hotel booked?
Oh boy. Yeah, I've seen the hotel prices have go as soon as pretty much a couple of days after they have either shut up or they've all sold out. So yeah, we are about probably 10 minutes away from Wembley Stadium by train. So yeah, we're glad we got that booked in. So 100%. Luckily we was watching AEW live, the Dynamite live when he announced it. So that was perfect timing, because I think if we landed by the time we landed back in the UK, I think we would have screwed. So yeah.
And by the way, pending my arrival, we may be moving closer hotels wise. I'm kidding, but seriously, totally.
You gotta be right.
I'm totally serious. Yeah, no, we'll get us as close as we can. I'm on it. I want to be there. And then Soul's next comment. I hate ads, not more than Prime though. Only chicken drink.
Or the children drink that.
You will take any opportunity to bury that.
If you want your colon bleached, go to Prime.
That was another Soul line. Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I tried the energy drink. It wasn't bad, the blueberry one, but it wasn't my favorite energy drink I've ever had. It was a little
Monster is better than Prime, and
it was a little sweet and it was a little gross, to be honest.
You're a little bleached now, are you?
I threw half of it away because it tasted like a lot of chemicals.
Oh,
but that's not the.
There goes that sponsorship.
Sorry, Prime. If you like us, I'll find a way to like you. I promise.
But now I'm gonna be so triggered. Carry on.
No, but Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez take part in a special championship celebration. What do you guys think about that? Because we do have to talk about it, I guess.
I got nothing. I don't.
What are they celebrating? That's what I'm.
Tag titles.
I know that, but I mean, they kind of like it wasn't even clean.
I wouldn't exactly be celebrating that. Like, it really makes no sense why you're even doing this. I mean, they don't care about the tag titles.
Well,
in general, WWE doesn't seem to care
like
about
a heel turn for 2 baby faces.
You had Trish turn against Lita. So what are you really going to do? Have Raquel turn against Liv after winning the tag titles? Like, that's Russo booking right there. If that's the direction they go with this.
Well, I don't think that, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, how often do you see a championship celebration for a freaking babyface? It doesn't make sense. And they're a babyface tag team. They are.
You do see championships. Well, the last one, the memorable ones were like, Eddie Guerrero, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Eddie. I guess. Yeah.
But Eddie overcame.
No, you're good.
He overcame Brock. Like, I mean, Raquel and Liv.
I don't know, man. Chaos, what were you saying though on the No, you're good. On the I feel like it would be the 2 of them turning heel.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to turn heel. I feel like this is just a cheap way to set up against Ronda and Baszler. Surely they're going to have a title shot at some point. I do see what you mean with that. They shouldn't really be celebrating something that was it really a cheap win? I mean, they just got the better of Trish. It was like she got better by the greatest move of all time, the roll up. So they didn't pull the leg, they didn't pull the tights. They didn't really. I don't think they really did anything wrong. It's just the main talking point is whatever happened at the end, which is obviously Trish turning on Becky,
which has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, exactly. So let them have their thing. I feel this is just a cheap way to set up Ronda against Ronda and Baszler for the tag titles, and then maybe that's when they lose it, and that's when Raquel turns on Liv. But yeah, I don't think they're turning heel, or this is I think this is a cheap way to set that up. In my opinion, because there's no other tag teams. We want like everything's all makeshift. The next best team who won also at Mania that showcase is Ronda and Thingy. So yeah, there you go.
And Shayna said, then that's no, I guess that makes sense. It's weird to me to schedule a championship celebration for like a babyface team like that. Because you just, I don't know. It seems a little telegraphed, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura returns. That's what we've got next. Anthony, I'll go to you first, then Chaos, you second. What do you, Anthony, think we're going to see from Shinsuke tonight?
I think the thing is with this, we don't really know 100% who's really in charge of creative, whether it's Emma, whether it's Vince. So I think those are the two factors with Shinsuke. Are we getting Triple H NXT Nakamura type push, or are we getting Vince with Rick Boogs level Nakamura? I don't know what we're getting here. They haven't explained why he's been gone, right? Like, I mean, the last time we saw him wasn't even on WWE TV. It was going against Muda in his last match. Like, I think he's been gone since, hasn't he?
He hasn't returned since. The last time he worked was back in November in SmackDown,
which is insane because obviously as far as I know, he's not injured. So like they're just going to go, oh, Nakamura returns. Are they going to say where he was? Like, I mean, what are we getting here? That would be my question. If this is in line for him to get a push, I'm all for it. If you want to go Nakamura, if you want to stick him, maybe he goes after Gunther and tries to get an Intercontinental title back. Maybe that's where they go with this. I would like to see where they're going with it, but it's very shaky ground creatively.
For sure. What are you thinking, Chaos?
For me, I do see what you mean, Anthony, regarding I do feel like this is going to be like a short-term push. If it is one, I think it's just going to have a run of matches and then have a feud maybe with like Karrion Kross or something, because Karrion ain't really doing anything and he's meant to be one of Triple H's boys. So yeah, I feel like it's just going to be a random feud for a while, blow it off at Backlash, and then he's just in the midst. I don't think they're going to do anything monster with him. I feel like his time is been and gone, and I feel like he's one of them those wrestlers that's in the comfort zone. If you like, he doesn't go as hard as he did in New Japan. So yeah, I feel like it will be a nice return. I don't think they're going to explain where he's been. They probably might mention about Noah. They probably won't mention Noah, but they'll say that he faced the Great Muda. And then he just decided to go and catch some waves in Florida. But yeah, I wouldn't look too far into this. I feel like he's gonna get a win probably against who's in SmackDown. What is it? Corbin? No, not Corbin. There's someone that's low, that's lower level, and then something builds off that, like someone like Karrion Kross, because Kross ain't doing anything else. So yeah, I could imagine him going against Kross for some reason. I don't know why.
Kross makes a lot of sense. I think he's got to return as a babyface, and I agree with you guys. Yeah. It kind of sucks that they're not going to mention Noah, because I mean, I stayed up late and actually watched the match with Muda. It was outstanding, and he showed what he's fully capable of. I kind of see him as just like a mid card, like, I hate to say this, but like and use like a mixed martial arts UFC term, but like I feel like Chaos, you'll appreciate this at least. He's a bit of a gatekeeper for other wrestlers at this point, right? Yeah. Like. It's like, oh yeah, like, can you work a good storyline with Shinsuke? And that's not entirely his fault, but it is, I think, a detriment to his ability to get over beyond that. We saw him win the Rumble and kind of fail beyond that, right?
Pretty much.
And it sucks that the Styles and Shinsuke Mania match didn't land the way you would have hoped.
It was on a vent.
Yeah, that should have been a classic.
Yeah, I mean, is Shinsuke Ziegler now, where he's just going to kind of be? I mean, it's kind of that role that putting other guys over. AJ's sort of in that position. Like these people that are veterans they've already established Hall of Fame careers, and now they're just kind of being used to elevate other people. And I get that. I do get that. I don't know how many more years Shinsuke is going to do it, but right now it's going to be interesting to see if they do anything with him really tonight.
Definitely. I mean, obviously it'll be a big return. I don't think Boogs will be involved, although that would be interesting if he was. If they try to do that again for some reason, you know. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. All around Intercontinental title, but I mean, is he really a threat to Gunther after all we've built up that part of the division? I don't know. I don't think so.
He may not be a threat to Gunther, but he's a plug and play person you could put in there for a feud.
Sorry to cut you off, Anthony. Has he not faced him already one time?
I believe so. Yeah, early in the reign.
Yeah. Sure it was a great match.
It was, but it would just be recycled, I guess, is kind of what my point was there. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
one of those things where, and it's a shame because I think all three of us would agree on Shinsuke's a world-class talent. It's just kind of the place we've arrived at this point in his career. Honestly, maybe going in, I hate to say this, but back to Japan might be the best move. If we're having a different conversation than about what's going to happen tonight, if we're talking about what's best for Shinsuke Nakamura as a whole, going back to Japan, whether it be Noah or New Japan, might actually be the best route to build himself back up to what he possibly could be, because with the strong style that he employs, if you don't have the time to show how truly violent you can be and how deep your repertoire of moves is, it's just not possible to advance yourself beyond where he's at. And that's I think the biggest dilemma with him myself, at least.
I mean, the thing is, at this point in his life and his career, the question is, does he still want to do that style, or does he kind of just want to get to the retirement and, you know, just move on? You know what I mean?
It's a great question.
That's the question.
I will say, though, that style is kind of all he knows. Chaos, do you have any thoughts? Well, I mean, not right this second. I know you just, but you know, like stylistically, I don't know if Shinsuke is a guy that can adjust. Right? He's worked that stiff striking style his whole career to great success. I don't know if he can all of a sudden become a guy that is arm drag, staying safe, and just a storyteller, especially without being able to talk on the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's actually thankful that he doesn't have to do the strong style stuff, because that stuff can weigh you down way quicker than the Western side of the Western way of wrestling. So I'm pretty sure he's thankful that he doesn't have to do that anymore. And to a degree, he has transitioned over correctly. I mean, obviously, I still think his best work was in NXT, and that was a WWE style. That wasn't New Japan strong style. So it's just bad creative. Simple as that. It makes that's what you got. That's what's covering the fact that he can actually transition well, because he's great. Sure, he's not good on the mic, but that's why you get him a spokesperson or something, or like be a silent killer.
We forget about him and Sammy and Cesaro, right? To your point, was actually decently successful.
Yeah. Had the Intercontinental title for long, never defended it, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a nice little group they had, but yeah, I feel like he's definitely transitioned well. It's just that they just don't use him. They don't utilize him well. He should have won at Mania, and then that storyline should have been great with Styles, but he just choked.
Yeah. I do still, though, believe, Chaos, to your point about how great he was in NXT, though, that was about as snug or stiff as you can work in WWE and get away with. So, like, as much as, yes, he did adjust closer to a blend of the strong style and the WWE more Western style, to your point, I think would benefit him greatly. And Gunther has proven that that's possible, right, with how snug he is.
Exactly.
Working and So that's where I think Shinsuke gets robbed to an extent, is they've kind of put like a governor on him. Like they put, like he can only go so fast and only do so much. And I really am a big fan of his. So I'm hoping that they do something really cool tonight to get me excited. But my expectations aren't through the roof, I guess, is where I'm at personally.
Understandable.
Yeah. Okay, now last match that we have the preview. Santos Escobar of the newly reformed Latino World Order battles of Judgment Day's Damian Priest in a singles match. I don't know how Damian Priest isn't in the Latino World Order.
Maybe this might be one of the stipulations at Backlash.
Yeah, like that just seems like out of left. Like if we were playing 2K, it'd be kind of a funny matchup. Like, see how you are with Santos, see how you are with Priest, but I don't know.
It sounds like you said with 2K, it sounds like you have to play it as Escobar to beat Damian Priest to unlock this feature. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's a big guy, small guy. If they're given the time and this is a clean match, I think those two could actually put together a decent match. I just don't think they're going to get the time, nor will it be clean. That's my only concern going into it.
Do you have a pick? Who would you pick? Who's going to win?
I'm going to go with Priest. That'd be my guess, but that's just a strict guess.
Who do you have, Chaos? What do you got on this one?
This one could go either way. I'm gonna say Priest somehow, because even though it's the reformation of LWO, the Judgment Day has been painted as like this unstoppable group. So yeah, I'll say Judgment Day. Yeah, go for Damian Priest. Yeah, screw it. Why not?
I think so too. And I get a little bit. It's funny because we've talked about like, is Ray the leader of the LWO? Is he even involved?
Yeah,
we obviously complained about it at
shirts,
Raw, like the whole thing. I don't know.
It's hilarious though. He's repping a group that he was forced in back in WCW. He didn't want to be part of it.
Bear in mind, he refused to take off the shirt when it finally got to the point and he was fighting Nash. Like that's where it all eventually led, and losing the mask and everything else. He was the reluctant one. Eddie beat him to join the stable, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
And then Eddie had left the company, and Nash was tearing through all the Latino cruiserweights, and then it got to Ray, and Ray refused to take off the shirt.
When the irony of it is, like, we were all at Mania and saw the LWO shirts at the Superstore, like with the Puerto Rican flag,
Puerto Rican version, yeah,
right, which is very, very cool with the pay-per-view at Puerto Rico, but not to harken back on marketing. But I mean, it's not like Puerto Rico and Mexico are best pals. I mean, in sports, as far as that's concerned, it's kind of funny, the irony there too, right? Yeah. And the divide there. Now I get it is the LWO, not like the PRWO or the MWO, but still, it is kind of ironic. And then for there to be the non-help on the Monday Night Raw we were at, right?
Well, that was the Vince Raw. So
you
I
would
count that,
and that's kind of the point that I'm getting to here. Is like, if we didn't know that as wrestling fans, wouldn't you assume that's like there's a crack in the? Are they going to do LWO versus LWO, Mexico versus Puerto Rico? Right? Like, is there a crack in the foundation of the LWO already? Like 48 hours later, I don't know. Obviously, it was a Vince botch there, and that's why it looks so goofy. But it's one of those things that's fascinating to me because on paper, the LWO should be awesome. And maybe Damian Priest should be in it, especially with his ties to Bad Bunny and what we're going to see at the pay-per-view. I'd be interested to see if maybe tonight they wrestle like a quality match and Priest gains the respect of Santos. That might be the route that I would go and start to form cracks in the Judgment Day. Right. And go against you can then do Damian and Dom at some point, maybe. If you are going to really push the LWO to the top, Damian Priest is a big body that immediately makes the group more legitimate.
The Nash, if you will.
Physically speaking, right? Like you have a sick crew of cruiserweights, and that's no knock on them as a group. Obviously, they're dangerous, but you add a guy that's 6'7" like Damian Priest. That's the only thing I can see personally coming out of this that makes any sense. I don't know. Do you guys agree, disagree? Maybe.
I mean, he could be the Kevin Nash for the LWO, this version of it with Escobar and stuff. I mean, realistically, I think Escobar and his group really excel as heels. I know they're trying to do the face thing, we respect Ray thing, but like realistically, them as like a cartel type group with Priest as heels, I think could do really well if given the right push.
Absolutely. Chaos, how do you feel about the LWO from here on out?
I mean, I think it's still early days. Right now, I don't really see them being a long-standing group. I feel like they may just actually what will be actually cool is if Santos Escobar and the crew turn on Ray. And then he takes over, like he's the new the reformed the new LWO. Drop the Phantasma stuff. That was good back in NXT, but now they absorb it and then be the heel group. Santos against Ray.
That's my thought. Yeah.
So there you go. Sorry, did you say that already?
Well, it was kind of
no.
Okay,
sorry.
We're all on the same page. Don't worry about it. We're good. Final topic of SmackDown, and then we're basically gonna go home.
Yes.
Until we do take it to the table, that is. But which tune in, by the way, that's when we do
better
live.
Yes. The judgment.
Don't deceive the audience. It's going to be taped.
Whatever. And so Woods and LA Knight, that's the last advertised thing on SmackDown tonight.
This is such a dire episode of SmackDown.
It's kind of mind-numbing. We did our best here on breaking it down. It's like a slow down Sports Center. Like you have to show old highlights at times. And
that's what we were talking about ads.
We got into ads, marketing, tons of stuff today. But LA Knight and Woods are going to have a conversation. I guess I'll go first. I like both a lot, and I know this will be entertaining. I just don't know why. And I don't understand why. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I think LA Knight's close to being over as a babyface. I don't know if there's anyone more over who can take like 6 weeks off and still come back as the ultimate babyface than Xavier Woods. So you're just putting them in the ring together to try to make LA Knight a heel again. I don't get it. I don't know. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Essentially, I'm going to take copy and paste what Clark said. Pretty much, I was pretty spot on. LA Knight, I've always liked him from when he was Eli Drake, when I first saw him on Impact. I mean, this is a guy that really, in theory, shouldn't be as over as he is, considering he was put in a feud with Bray, which I presume they thought, Bray will just steamroll over him. He doesn't matter. He got over and Bray didn't. So, I'm fully on board pushing LA Knight. Like, granted, Gunther's got the Intercontinental title right now, but I would love to put some title on LA Knight because he's cocky enough, and I think he could carry a mid-card title and make a title mean something and do a really good feud with somebody. So, I mean, really, LA Knight should steamroll over Xavier Woods, to be honest.
I love it. Chaos, do you agree? How do you feel about this one?
110%, man. I love LA Knight. The way he's at first, I didn't really watch his NXT run, but over the time, he slowly became for lack of a better term, a meme, but a good meme. Just with that catchphrase, it's clearly the new Steve Austin what, and he's gotten such a simple word over. I agree. He should definitely be pushed to the moon. I did hear, I do know that they're looking to push him at some point. I don't know why they're taking so long. Maybe it's because a certain person's back at the helm, and obviously everything's just up in flames right now. But yeah, I definitely would like to see him with a strap at some point, sooner rather than later. Right now it looks like it's just spinning the wheels with this Xavier Woods thing, because I thought that was just a one-off, and now they're running it back again. It's very Vince-like. I don't see why he's going after Woods. It's almost like it's just putting LA Knight in a bad light, and not in a good way, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see. I think they're just spinning the wheels, and hopefully there's something big at the end.
Yeah, and Chaos, I think you made a freaking awesome point at the very end there, especially about it. Like, LA Knight shouldn't be a bully. That's not what got him over. That's got him over, all of that. He comes across as like he's bullying Woods.
Yeah.
Which isn't a good look, because the fans with the tagline and the sarcasm, the hilarious mic work, want to root for LA Knight at this point.
Yeah.
This is now the guy that, right? I mean, and for him to then turn around and kind of pick on Woods, a guy we all like, right? And do want to root for as well. It just seems like odd booking, out of touch booking, and kind of what you hinted at there about old regime type stuff.
He was the most glaring omission from Mania Week. The name is literally
100%.
LA Knight,
100%.
and he was not on the LA shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I feel like
I don't know if he was on that SmackDown, but because
I feel like I definitely feel in my gut's telling me that he was pretty much was set for night 2. So was Bobby Lashley, and then obviously as soon as the rumblings got around about the sale, everything just went to shit. I'm sorry. I think that's what
I think
somehow
so
that. And like I don't think they will ever admit it. I don't think we will ever know. But just something, I'm pretty sure you guys can agree, something was off about night 2.
Couldn't agree more. From there on out,
the only way I think
you're spot on, Chaos. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even mean to cut you off, but like he's spot on.
The only way I think we'll find out whether or not LA Knight was supposed to be on that thing is if LA Knight talks about it either in an interview, while he's with WWE, or when he's not with WWE, and there's kind of the shoot interview. Maybe then he'll say, "Hey, I was supposed to be on it. Vince said no," or whatever. Something like that would be my guess.
We'll be on this show April 14th, 2043, after the documentary comes out, and that's when we'll know. We'll get back to you guys.
Clark will have celebrated episode 800 of the Daily at that point.
That'll be like 8,000 by the
way. Yeah.
Look at what you did. You just made me do math on air. Look at what
doesn't mean done. It's right math.
What a show. Speaking of math, SmackDown, we've got a few hours till it's live. We're gonna have Take It to the Table coming up next. This has been a fun show. We've previewed as much as the WWE gave us to preview of SmackDown, I think, today, guys. That's hard to do. Right before we go, we have 1 minute yes or no question. Is Roman Reigns on television tonight outside of a commercial?
No.
No. Wait, where is this going to be?
I should know that.
I'll be honest. If this was taking place in his living room, I still don't think he'd make an appearance.
Yeah, I think it's a no. I think he's out.
Basically.
It's got to be West Coast-ish. I think maybe Idaho, Boise.
No, where were they from Monday?
Weren't they like Washington?
Portland? Oh, sorry.
Portland.
Monday. No.
Sorry. That's probably West Coast.
Same thing. It's Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
It's the Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh wow, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, Roman ain't going to Nebraska.
Roman isn't finding the link. And with that, that is today's daily broadcast. Tune in to Take It to the Table all the shows. Anthony, Chaos, Clark. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for having us.
Peace.